So I was originally gonna wait until the Cyborg was in hand and then drop a hour-long review of the whole thing, addressing all three aspects of, I think, what is important here: the positioning in the market, the presentation, and what I mean by that is the engineering and thought that goes into it, just how it's being presented, and then the performance. The three parts of my review here. I think what I'm gonna do though is just upload them separately. So this is going to be part one of three. Just because, what good does it do to not have a discussion about the cyborg for the next 45 days or whatever, right? So here is what I shot 24 hours after pre-orders for the Cyborg X went up. This is my part one of three. So this is positioning. What is Macdev doing? How do I feel about its place in the market? It's kind of an intellectual prelude, to the actual review. So, if you just want to listen to some guy wax poetic about, the cyborg for 20 minutes, please watch ahead. It's really negative. The cyborg is pissing me off. So, that's that. I'm not going over anything technical. It's just from a business owner who deals with limited release products like this, right? It's just the perspective of somebody who's in a similar market segment. So, it's the first P of the three Ps, positioning. So enjoy positioning segment. I'm going to upload that now, and then I will do, once it comes in, I'll drop the presentation. We'll go over it. Oh, the regulators are decoupled, right? All very cool. Ooh, that's a lot of volume, but that poppet spring is 10 feet long. Really stupid. We'll go through all of that. And then we'll shoot it. We'll do a review. I'll put a couple cases through it, and we'll, do final thoughts, right? So part one, please enjoy. All right. So it is 24 hours after the official online launch of the Cyborg X. And excuse me, I did order one. So we do have a Cyborg X coming in the mail, but I wanted to give my thoughts 24 hours out. Now that we've only seen renders, we've only seen what Federico and Macdev and all these guys, Macdev and all these guys have been saying, kind of post-launch. What is the public consensus? Where are we? Here's the date. I mean, it's it's 24 hours after. What is happening with the new cyborg? What are my kind of first impressions? Because I'm not happy about it, right? I wanted to make this video up front to kind of track how my thoughts are progressing as we get more and more into the rollout of the hotly anticipated Cyborg X. So it has been 24 hours now, and every retail has them in stock. Surprise! I think they've absolutely approached this in such a bad way. I'm really unhappy with it, and I honestly can't wait to get this cyborg in and then immediately resell it at a huge loss just to crater the cyborg economy, because Macdev won't ever fucking learn, and they're greedy and they're bad, right? I think this rollout is a masterclass in disrespecting your fan base, and not for a lot of the reasons that other people are saying. I one of my primary modes of employment, I have a record label, and it deals with this kind of collector culture, right? And that's what the Cyborg X, Twister stuff, the DLS, all of these markers are catered to paintball collectors. It's a real subset of the paintball economy, right? These are the people that are buying multiple guns a year. You can't make and market guns and sell it to the people that just still shoot a CS2 with a Spire IR2. How do we capture the attention and the money of the brokest people that don't care about gear? You know what I mean? So when you see people complaining, it's intellectual complainers. And by intellectual, I mean just complaining out of theory. It's not an actual complaint. because all the Cyborgs are still in stock. Oh, 200 units. What the heck, man? You're really shooting yourself in the foot. They're all still, just go buy one then. Oh, you're not going to buy one because you were never going to buy one? You just want to complain? Yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, I think what they should have done is actually made it out of 200 units. They should have used it as a halo product, right? To advertise the GTX and the Droid, right? Used it as a a true hype product. Used it as a DLS, right? Where it gets eyes on Macdev. Wow, Macdev really is coming back. They are making guns again. They're improving their customer support. They blah blah blah. Use it as the final push on this Macdev rebrand that we've had over the past year, right? But that's not what it is. What's going to happen is this one is limited to 200. They've been very clear on their verbiage that the collector's edition is limited to 200. This one is going to be limited to 200. And then I would say probably in a year, they're going to release the Borg. And it's going to be $200 less. It's going to be a GTX Droid situation. They're going to have the Borg. It's going to be the exact same thing as the Cyborg. It's just not going to have the deadly wingtip, right? Which is the only reason why they included a deadly wingtip, because it's the cheapest, lamest way to add, visual value without actually spending any money, and then you can take it away and just have your regular barrel and see, that was the collector's edition, that was a special edition, had a deadly wings whip tip. It's so transparent that I think them coming out of the gate and making a product for collectors, badass, you know what I mean? And then immediately spitting in everyone's face, on Instagram comments, and I'll have some in here, saying that, oh no, we're still obviously gonna do more. Like, why would anyone buy this? Why would anyone buy a $1,600 Gen 1 product from a company that has notorious reliability issues, right? Why would anyone buy a Gen 1 product from an unreliable brand on a brand new platform that's untested, knowing that it's not gonna work? You know what I mean? Knowing that these values are gonna crater. This is gonna be a $700 marker in less than a year. And then they're gonna release the Borg that's gonna have all these updated. You're basically paying extra to be a beta tester and to pay for their tooling, you know what I mean? Just because, I've talked to retailers on this. The retailer margin on this is like $200, you know what I mean? So they are truly making a lot of money off this Cyborg X. 200 units is enough for them to have Cyborg X owners be beta testers, figure out all the issues, and then repackage all of that into a high margin Borg, CYBRG, if you're gonna go the Droid route, that's then gonna be mass produced, right? So it's a bait and switch. I think it's intellectually dishonest. I think it's bad marketing. It should either be 200 one time, actually, as it's fake advertised, and use it as a Halo ancillary product to sell more droids and GTXs and clones and whatever. Or you should just be honest and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to do 200 and you get to have them exclusive for a year. And then when we release the new Cyborg, you can trade these in for a credit, or, we'll ship you the parts, or, they think that I'm stupid. They think that paintball people are stupid. And for the most part, we are. Nobody cares. Nobody holds manufacturers accountable when they do things like this, right? Everybody wants the high secondary value collector money, but nobody wants to respect collectors. It's like, JT, oh, we're never doing clears. Oh, they did a bunch of clears. You know what I mean? It's like, excuse me. All, Twister, it's like, oh, we're doing the R5, we're doing the Vortex core. We'll probably never do these again, which is, of course, to speak for, obviously, we're going to do these again. If you can't commit to saying you're not going to do something again, then, it means you're going to do it again. People are paying $400 for one, and then, they release 10 more runs of the Vortex cores, crater the value. Die with, the Red Legion, DSR. Just everybody wants to bill things as, limited edition, we're never going to do it again. And then they sell out because people want something exclusive and cool. And then they're like, oh, wait, these sold out. We should just make more. And it's disrespectful to collectors, to hype beasts and collectors who I don't want to say are the backbone of what you're doing, but it's like, if you didn't need their money, then why would you advertise in this way, right? So I'm upset about the Cyborg. I'm upset about a lot of things in the paintball industry. You have all of these companies lying to collectors, lying to whales, right, to get their money, and then using that to subsidize future runs to complainers, to people who don't give a fuck anyway. So you burn all this goodwill from the people that actually have money to spend to satiate the opinions of the brokest, loudest, dumbest section of your market, right? Like the people complaining about spending $35 on something, yeah, that's the people you want to make sure that, you listen to, that you take into account. People aren't going to buy your shit anyway, right? Hey, all of those people complaining about it being 200 units on the Cyborg, fucking buy one. WC Marker, CPX, Punishers, everybody still has tons in stock. Macdev.com, tons in stock. Tons in stock, just go buy one. Oh, you were never gonna buy one, you just like to complain. Right, it means nothing to you. And now the actual collectors are left holding the bag. We paid for an overpriced, what will almost certainly be a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And then they're gonna re-release it at a cheaper price point, crater this entire version's, value. And then, similar to the DLS, everyone's left holding the bag. Macdev still sucks. Like, we are less than 1 year off, the GTX. You could get one for $700. The Twister, the Cyclone, it's the only Twister going for under retail already. Macdev will do nothing to protect their values, right? And normally I wouldn't say that's the point of a paintball marker, is to protect secondary value. But when you're trying to earn back trust, I think it is important, because similar to like iPhones, people like buying them because they hold their value well. They don't mind spending more up front because they know they can sell it on the secondary, get their money back by, the next year's, right? I think that's important for Macdev. Why would I buy, a $1,700 GTX when I can get a used one for $700? Doesn't make you want to sell more GTX. Perception is reality. If they're going for that cheap, that means they suck, right? So that's everything that I have wrong with the Cyborg from what I've seen on launch day here. I have one coming because I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. I like being on the bleeding edge. So I'm gonna splice this into the video. So this will be the first thing you see. Hello, welcome to the Cyborg X review. And then we're gonna get into that, but that's my preface, my preamble to the Cyborg X and why I already hate it and why I already still hate Macdev. And this is coming from a longtime Macdev guy. Like, if you scroll through these videos, some of my first Bushmasters were Sonic B2Ks. I had like 4 or 5 Sonic B2Ks. My brother had GTs and a GTI. We have a GT2. Like, long-time Macdev guys. You know what I mean? I had a Cyborg 6, I'll splice that footage in, right? A lot of Macdevs, and I'm not just a Macdev hater. I think they're a plucky third party, you know what I mean? In the world of Planet Eclipse and Lux, there's 2 brands. It's like, and also don't forget about Macdev, right? But they can't get out of their own fucking way. And it makes me hate them, and now I'm rooting against them because you've waited 10 years to re-release the Cyborg. You've done this whole entire fake campaign to drum up hype, and all it does is make the people who bought them not like you, right? You've managed to make people not excited about the new Cyborg because I think your rollout, your marketing is stupid. So, we'll see. We'll get it in, and maybe it rocks, but this is my global first impressions. I think we'll do first impressions, then we'll do in hand, opening it, true first impressions, and then we'll do shooting and review. So I'll have this all in the video, but wanted to get this part on the record while it's still fresh in my head, while I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about this Cyborg X for a couple days here, and that's where I'm at with it. It's one of those things where I'm actually mad. And I can't wait to get it in the mail so I can be mad about it in person, right? I think that's no one's excited about it. Like, everyone knows that this marketing thing is fake. Everyone knows that there's going to be some significant issues with it, most likely, right? So, we'll see. All right. Next clip will be Cyborg X unboxing.